Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Well, much to my surprise, I have some more House of Emilio cigars from Gary Griffith. These are going to be a little different. I actually have one cigar of each of the brands that he sent. So all of these from this point forward for this round will be blind impressions. It'll be first impressions as far as what that cigar is like. Today's first cigar is the Guayacan, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Robusto. And here it is, very nice looking band, very intricate. I'll rotate it so you can see it, but it is a lot of colorful pictures there. Right at the bottom it says Habana, Ecuador. So that's what this is, Ecuadorian Habano wrapper and Nicaraguan binder and filler. I don't know a lot about this cigar. Even going to their website, it's very limited in information. So the best thing for us to do is to try it and see what we get. So it's a very light to medium. It's a medium brown in color. It's very not very dark at all. But again, you can't smoke bands, but that is really a pretty band. So let's get right to it. Guayacan Robusto, 5x50. All right. This appears to be a very stiff lower band around the foot, and I believe it should be easy to remove, I hope. It's a very thick paper, and it did. Came right off. There we go. See the Habana, Ecuador. And, of course, we'll see that again later. All right. Next. A little bit of a firm draw, not very bad. Just took off just a little bit at the top. Well, right away there's a little sweetness that appears to be sort of a citrusy cedar. A lot of roasted nut flavors. Actually not so much roasted, it's almost a raw, but it has some roasted characteristics. Maybe some coffee notes there, light coffee notes. Roasted nuts and combination of a sweet cedar and citrus combination. Just right at first, that's first impression. So let's see where we go from here. The Guayacan Robusto. All right, about a half to 3/4 of an inch in. And the flavors are very similar to what I described initially, but I would add dry hay. There's notes of dry hay in there now. So primarily you're going to get the roasted nuts in abundance. You're going to get the underlying coffee notes in abundance. And the cedar citrus combination has some sweetness, but it's more of a secondary flavor. The dry hay can be found here and there, but you can't mistake it. Now I would call the cigar medium bodied. It's a white pepper at about a 7 rating. And the finish is more of a cream with some notes of those roasted nuts. A little bit of lingering pepper on the finish. So that's where we are. That's where it's settled down to. Now let's see where we go from here. Well, about 1.5 inches in now. And interesting thing has happened. The cigar has really picked up in all the nice sweet flavors. I would call it more of a nutmeg cedar combination now, but it has a little bit of richness to it. And the richness is actually coming from those roasted nuts. The roasted nuts are not so obvious, but they are there, and you can tell that rich type flavor is a nutty richness. The hay that I mentioned earlier doesn't really seem to be in play so much. And the coffee is a little light coffee at the base, but it's made a definite tick up in enjoyment. The roasted nuts, the richness of them, and a sort of a buttery richness, you know, and combining with the cedar and nutmeg, which has a nice elevated sweetness, is really nice now. Finish is about like we described before, so nice move up for the Guayacan Robusto here at the 1.5 inch point. Got maybe 1.5 inches remaining. Fairly slow burning Robusto, as you can see. We're already close to 70 minutes in. It's more or less a cedar flavor now, sweet cedar. I don't really get a lot of nutmeg notes. The roasted nuts, which had that little buttery richness, are subtle. A lot more coffee notes at this point. The coffee has really come forward. Finish is about the same. Still that cream with influence of roasted nuts. Cigar still, it's getting close to medium to full bodied actually. It's over medium. Not quite medium to full, but it's very close. So that's where we are. We're about 1.5 inches remaining. Sort of a decent change there from last segment to now. But we're down to the end, so let's wrap it up. Cigar is very close to full body at this point. I'll call it medium to full, but it's on the upper end of medium to full. Very, very close to full body. The cedar maintained. The roasted nuts are secondary. Coffee notes of a nice base. Finish is about the same. This has been an interesting cigar. It started out and made several little twists and turns. The roasted nuts with the cedar is a nice flavor. It had a little buttery richness there in the midpoint. Really lost that, but not a deal breaker. So it's been a very good cigar. The Guayacan Robusto has been an interesting cigar. I enjoyed it, and another surprise find for Gary Griffith in his travels. Been a very interesting, nice cigar. I'm rating it a 91. It's well worth you trying. Look for these in select shops that carry House of Emilio cigars, and I believe you'll like it. Don't really know the price point. Unfortunately, I don't have any idea what this cigar runs, so I can't give you any insight there. But the flavor is based on what the review is. You can judge for yourself. For me, it's a very good cigar. I'd buy it if I find it, and I think it's well worth trying. So there you have it, the Guayacan Robusto 91.